Hello and happy Monday, everyone, or happy whatever day it is you happen to be watching. We have a brief break in the crazy, soon-to-be spring weather we've been getting recently. This weekend's just been nuts. So Friday and Saturday it was like lots of wind. Yesterday and today we've had wind and rain and snow and sunshine. So I'm taking this opportunity of no precipitation to get some stuff done in the garden because finally have gotten to the point where there's this just one tiny little piece of snow left in here that needs to melt off, and it's in a spot where I don't need to measure anything. So we're going to be in the garden space today and staking and measuring and marking where my in-ground beds are going to be. So let's get into this before it starts dumping. I've mentioned getting into the garden and using stakes and string to mark out beds before, but I didn't get into detail on what this meant or even when to do this method of measuring out your garden space. Basically, this way of measuring and marking your garden beds is to ensure square corners and straight lines, or as close to these as you can get. Not only that, but it's a great way to split up the beds and better visualize the full space. The stakes I'm using to mark the corners of the beds are 2-foot long bamboo stakes. You can use whatever you like. You can even make your own. I just was a little too lazy to do that today. And the string that I used is just some cheap garden twine that I picked up sometime last year. I basically only use this setup for my in-ground beds since there's no need to mark the perimeter of each raised bed. The big three I'm planting in ground this year are corn, potatoes, and onions. This first bed you just watched me do was for the corn. Corn needs between 12 and 18 inches of space between each stalk, and I've found in years past that 12 inches has worked perfectly fine and helped conserve space. So by marking out a 10 by 10 foot section, I should be able to plant roughly 100 corn plants in there. Next, I moved to the potatoes. I decided to increase the number of beds this year than what I did last time, with the hope that it will also translate to a larger yield. Similarly to corn, potatoes need roughly a foot between each plant. Since I like the mounding method of growing potatoes, this is where you gradually pile dirt up and around the plant during the growing season. I decided that I was going to set each bed at 2 foot wide by 6 foot long. With 3 beds, each this size, I should be able to plant roughly 36 plants in here. Now, this might sound like a lot, but according to a study done by Colorado State University, the average yield from one potato plant is around 2 pounds of potatoes. Obviously, this number varies depending on what source you go to. I found another place that said it was 6 pounds per plant, so I'm going to play it safe and go with the lower number and plant more than I regularly would to make sure that we're going to get, fingers crossed at least, a good yield for that. The last bed I'm marking out today is for onions. These plants need roughly 10 inches between each row, so with a bed of 3 foot wide, I should be able to get 3 rows planted. And at 10 foot long, with 6 inches between each bulb, we can estimate that we can plant about 60 onion plants in this bed. With that said, I did only set up one, so I will most likely be setting up a second bed for onions, so I can hopefully double that amount that we plant and also double the amount that we would then yield. Holy, it's starting to get really cold out here now, so I think that's the extent of what I'm going to do. I got the beds that I wanted done, so now all that's left really is the section over here, this mess right here. That's going to be berries, but I can't mark anything out until the wood's out of the way, but I can't get the wood out of the way until I have my raised beds, because I'm gonna cut all that up and put it as the base substrate, I guess, or mulch. There we go. It's gonna be the base mulch in the raised beds. So yeah, one thing's waiting on another. So that's what we can get today. I got the corn patch measured, a big patch for onions, and then 3 plots for potatoes. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do before it. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like what you saw, please let me know. You could drop a like, leave a comment. You could subscribe. Check out my Instagram, my TikTok, my blog. And with that, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.